But once we get it back together, we'll be out there right away next week serving the people of Manitoba, focusing on their priorities, making a difference every single day.
Mr. Premier, the timing of the next session in the budget, are we going to, when are MLAs coming back?
Well, that hasn't been determined yet, but obviously we do a spring session and a spring budget, and we're underway in terms of preparing legislative proposals, and we have a number of proposals that we tabled in the fall after the throne speech that still need to be debated and have second hearings on. And of course, we have a late federal budget this year, and so
are you waiting for the federal budget?
It's one factor. It's not the only factor, but it's one important factor in our deliberations, even though we've gotten some indications of what revenue transfers will be, but we usually do our budgets after the federal budget.
Will you wait until after the PAW by-election is done?
Again, that hasn't been finally determined yet, but there is the PAW by-election on the horizon for sure.
But my understanding is you have until the end of the week to call it.
I think there are some different time frames than that, but we think that it will be achievable within the statutory time frames.
So if you do call the by-election, are you prevented from doing advertising from your budget then?
There are restrictions during a by-election period, of course, and but there are also some exceptions for certain types of situations, such as emergencies. So all of those things have to be considered in the final decision making.
Okay, and I asked then, would you likely hold the by-election first and then the budget?
Again, final decisions haven't been made, but as soon as we have determined that and announce it, you'll be among the first to hear. And I know that's difficult for you, but you know,
okay,
I'm just being frank with you.
All right, but after being campaigning only on weekends and in evenings and being the premier during the day all these past several weeks, you still don't have a date picked, or you're saying you don't want to announce it right now?
Again, there are some possibilities that have been identified, and when they're firmed up, they'll be announced publicly.
Okay. Steve Ashton, you've given his duties, his resignation came after you shuffled your cabinet. And when he resigned, you gave his duties to the Agriculture Minister, Mr. Kostishin. Are you going to keep Mr. Kostishin loaded up like that, or are you going to bring Mr. Ashton into the cabinet soon? Again,
when that announcement is ready to be made, it'll be made. I don't want to preempt it, and I don't want to give you hypotheticals or possible scenarios until they're firmed up.
You're not thinking, well, because Steve Ashton ran against me in the leadership, he's out of my cabinet, or are you amenable to bringing him back?
My mind is completely open with respect to all the possibilities going forward. No question about it. I do note that we have a very capable caucus with a number of excellent people within it, and everybody comes here to serve the public.
So it's possible that in the infrastructure and the flood files could go to another member of caucus?
Again, I don't want to speculate about things that haven't been decided yet. Minister Ashton, or former Minister Ashton, and I worked quite closely on flood-related matters in the past, and we've also worked closely on infrastructure projects. So I'm not going to prejudge any of the outcomes of future discussions that we're going to have altogether.
Do you consider him a member of caucus?
He is, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But what about the Gang 5, or the 5 cabinet ministers who resigned? They're not formally in caucus.
They are members of caucus with some restricted privileges.
And but they're not allowed to attend meetings.
They have some restricted privileges that everybody agreed to.
And they have not begun any
That process hasn't come to a conclusion yet.
Okay.
No.